for inviting me to speak about the government's defence policy update. CADSI is the national voice of the Canadian defence industry with more than 700 members. These companies have a significant stake in Canada's defence policy. Today, I'd like to make 2 points about Our North Strong and Free. First, we were pleased to see a section entitled Building an Innovative and Effective Defence Industrial Base, and the commitment to change our approach to working with industry innovators and researchers, moving away from transactional approaches for acquiring capabilities to sustained strategic partnerships founded on transparency and trust. The policy also acknowledged that building up Canada's defence capabilities must include building up our defence industrial base. The Canadian government has long been an outlier internationally in its unwillingness to work in partnership with its domestic defence industry. Our North Strong and Free suggests a new willingness to fundamentally change the way D&D, the CAF, and Canada's defence industry interact. Moving from words to actions is a challenge that we enthusiastically embrace. Recently, we submitted a proposal to the government on how to structure and institutionalize the defence industry government CAF relationship to meet both domestic and NATO industrial requirements. We look forward to working both with this government and future ones on this issue. The government's change of approach, hopefully, also reflects NATO's current agenda as allies implement the Defence Production Action Plan, or DPAP. The DPAP is anchored in the recognition that radically increasing defence industrial output across all members is now core to NATO's strategic concept and to deterring Russia. A strong, resilient defence industrial base is a new element of NATO burden sharing. The Washington Summit further expanded these commitments through the NATO Industrial Capacity Expansion Pledge, also known as NICE. So, on industrial cooperation, the government seems to be headed in the right direction. On defence funding, however, Canada remains a laggard. As Our North Strong and Free was drafted, we witnessed unrestrained brutality and territorial ambitions from Russia towards Ukraine. Leading experts repeatedly say that if Russia prevails, other European democracies will be next on Putin's hit list. The NATO 2% of GDP defence spending requirement agreed at Wales in 2014 and reconfirmed last year at Vilnius has now become an imperative rather than an option. But you wouldn't know that from the funding the government committed in Our North Strong and Free, $8 billion over the next 5 years. The Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates that it would take nearly double that amount per year over several years to meet NATO's 2% target. The disappointing budgetary commitment also implies that Canada hasn't accepted our own Arctic sovereignty is threatened by Russian and Chinese ambitions. It suggests that Ottawa believes our allies will come to our defence when we have no intention of coming to theirs. Worse, we have the bizarre situation where the government is giving money to D&D on one hand and taking most of it away with the other. And what I'm referring to here is the Treasury Board-led professional service cuts, which amount to between $800 to $900 million annually targeting D&D. These cuts will further undermine CAF operational readiness by reducing essential professional services that were contracted out to industry, in part as a long-term cost-saving measure. Fixing these financial shortcomings is core to the integrity of Our North Strong and Free. Canada's standing as a reliable NATO partner, our relationships with our closest allies, and our own national defence. I'll close with 3 suggestions. First, that the government move this fall to design and implement new mechanisms and arrangements and develop with industry a sustained strategic partnership founded on transparency and trust. Second, cancel the planned cuts to D&D's budget, which amount to $810 million in 2024-25 and $908 million in 26-27 and beyond. And third, in Budget 2025, start laying out a transparent year-over-year fiscal track to get Canada to the 2% NATO defence spending requirement. We can't wait 4 years for the next defence policy to get started on the Defence Production Action Plan. Canada, like its NATO allies, needs to prepare for conflict to prevent it. Our commitments to NATO, including 2%, are fundamentally about global deterrence. Thank you.